What's happening, guys? Happy Thursday and welcome to the Fabulous Big Bet. I am your host. This is Memphis, and we are brought to you by the DWZ Fantasy Football Network and our new title sponsor, BetUS.com. And I'll tell you who's back. He's somewhat better than ever. We're both coming off of a rough week 6, but you know him as Dr. Kyle, but I know him as
I'm a killer. I'm the dirtiest player in the game. I know one thing: win at all costs.
Dr. Kyle, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Memphis. I figured out what's going on with picking sides for me too. We must have lots of NFL players listening to our show and talking about the motivation of teams has motivated the teams we've been down on. That's the only explanation for what an atrocity I tried to predict last week.
Somewhere the Raiders, the two teams that come to mind for me personally are the Raiders and Carolina. The Raiders I can understand a little bit. I've been critical of the Raiders over the years. I've been critical of John Gruden. I think we all deserve to be now. But no one has shown more love in both the gambling and dynasty and fantasy space to Matt Rule and Sam Darnold than me. But those guys, every chance they get, they kick me right square in the old Jimmy. Well, we're already here, Dr. Kyle, but before I do, I want to make sure I get into the YouTube. Obviously, we have a gambling show. You're listening to that. That's the Fabulous Big Bet. And then our boy Kyle. That is Kyle August from the Fantasy Football Smackdown. That guy's killing the content right now. He's doing a 20 to 30 minute waiver wire show on Monday nights on YouTube, Tuesday for a podcast, and then the same thing Thursday just before kickoff of the Thursday night game. Then he jumps right back that turns into the Friday podcast, and then on a YouTube exclusive, he's doing waiver wire sniping. This week 7 Bipocalypse wouldn't have hit you so hard if you had watched waiver wire sniping. He would have gave you a couple of names, and you wouldn't be scrambling as hard. But you don't get all that goodness if you don't go to YouTube, search Dynasty Warzone, you find the show, and you just subscribe. Dr. Kyle, you subscribe.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know what it is about October that's got me and you this year, but we've been behind on some of our YouTube content. I'm going to get back on it. I think you're going to as well. It's just like everything that could hit you all at once hits you in October, and for me also May.
Yeah. I think we had a trip that started October, and since then just been
Ends
playing catch
November.
up. Yeah, I wish I could use one of those.
That's how Dr. Kyle rolls. But we're going to talk about the importance of outs. Now, Dr. Kyle, you live in a municipality, New York City, that does not allow legalized sports gambling, but you found ways in the past. Maybe through old friend MyBookie, a couple of other such sites.
Also through old friend Nick Berner, who is my good buddy, Nick Berner.
I hope Berner's not his last name, and now we have like the federales looking up for one Nicholas Berner. That would be rough. But we have a new friend. It's BetUS. We're going to talk about them in a minute, but that's a new out. You know, I've got 15 outs. You've got maybe one or two. Dr. Kyle, I just literally gave you 50% more outs. You're welcome, by the way. I know you're in New York. You're welcome.
I need them.
You have to. There was a lot of line movement today between the time I wrote the show sheet at lunch and the time that we hit record. I just updated the show sheet before we hit the go button. So get a new out, go to betus.com and use promo code Memphis. I will circle back around to that at the end of the show with our friends at betus.com. Come bet with us at betus.com. All right, Dr. Kyle, let's do a very let's be quick recap of week 6. Now, it wasn't just a bloodbath here. You listen to any gambling show, you listen to any touts. Last week was a bloodbath for the quote-unquote sharps. Last week would have been a hell of a week to been something like this.
All right, on the picture here, we have a square.
It would have been nice to have been super square last week because the squares got all the money in Vegas, Dr. Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll do a quick recap. Now, Dr. Kyle was 1-4, which made me feel good at 2-3. He had KC in a teaser with Buffalo. KC got there, Buffalo did not.
Ugh.
Chicago, well, we'll cover that one in a minute. He had
Yeah.
Houston plus 10, and one of my losses while we're already covering that game is I had the Colts and the Texans over 42 and a half. And if you had told me going into last Saturday, if you told me the Colts themselves were going to score 31, how much would you like to have bet on this over of 42 and a half, thinking that Houston would only have to score 12 points to get me that? It would have been sizable.
It's
It would
called
have
the
been
farm. The
it would have
farm is what you would bet.
it would have been bank well, my wife keeps it from being the farm, but it would have been crippling. It would have been bankroll crippling if you had said, "Hey, Indianapolis by themselves are going to get you 31. You'd need 12 out of Houston." I would have been, here's a good bet. Here's a sizable bet. But that didn't come through. Carolina fucked us both again.
Yep.
You had Carolina plus 1.5, and were intrigued on the money line. I had them teased up to 7. They did help me. That late down 8. So they kick the field goal. They go down 8, and I'm like, God, son of a b. 4th and 10 from their own 4. Sam Darnold, who has not looked great over the last 3 weeks, threw a rope, just an absolute rope on 4th and 10. Took him down the length of the field, scored the touchdown. And it was at that point that I knew I was home free on that leg. But the problem is I teased him with Buffalo just like you did. And you had Dallas minus 3. That was your one winner.
My big bet. My big bet.
My super square ball teaser of the week, which I had Tampa Bay teased down with Kansas City. Good thing I had Tampa on the teaser because they wouldn't have covered the 6.5. But I got my square ball teaser through. That got me to 1-3, and then the one game that got you to 1-4 and got me to 2-3, Green Bay. I think you had plus 4.5, and
I did.
it didn't matter. They won by double digits, and
It was close though. I don't
last
feel
touchdown.
bad about I don't feel bad about my Carolina bet, and I don't feel bad about my Chicago bet. Those were like they came down to the last couple possessions. So, but
That's
get-
true. But I'm gonna pour.
know,
Listen, I'm up 2
Bask.
units.
Bask, Memphis, bask.
I really wanted to find another bet to go against you tonight because what I was going to do was say, hey, once I go up 3 units, you got to buy me a pair of the new goat shorts. But we're not there yet. Couldn't find that bet yet. But yeah, that was our recap. I went 1-4. He went 2. I'm sorry, I went 2-3. He went 1-4. And on the leans, you had Philly. You like Philly both as part of a teaser leg and up to plus 7. You got there on that. Miami minus 3 was an outright loss. And yeah, because Jacksonville upset them. Urban Meyer stayed behind.
2-3 down there. Yeah.
And then I gave you the win. I actually gave you 2 wins for this one because you said Cleveland if the rain or wind showed up, which it really didn't, and Arizona
it didn't really
Arizona
hit
on the
much.
money line. But you also had Detroit and the Chargers. I had the Chargers. And then my leans were bad. I was 1-4. I leaned to the over in the Jacksonville and Miami game. They finished with 43 points. I leaned to Cleveland and New England. New England, I kind of feel like it was a bad beat. Because New England had their possession in overtime. They're like 30. They're like
Cowboys
30,
only needed the field goal.
They're like 30 yards away, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting 4. Let's kick that field goal. And then, of course, I did lean to Las Vegas. The first time I didn't bet them outright. They come up looking great off the Gruden resignation. And then I leaned Pittsburgh. Again, if you bet our leans, that's fine. They're just leans. We kind of talk about them to get action conversation on the game. So on the season, we are combined 6-6 on big bets. And we are 30-33-2 on overall bets. And on total everything, leans, likes, big bets, the whole 9 yards, we're 29-23-2. That was for last week. And then on the season to date, everything across the board.
Correction, Memphis.
Yes.
We're 7-5 on big bets. I'm 3-3 now, and you're 4-2.
Okay, so math is hard. So that makes
Not
us
for me.
66, 61, and 4. That's just a shade under 52%. Just a shade under. To be a successful professional gambler, you have to bet and win 52.4% of your overall bets. So I don't feel too bad, Dr. Kyle. A couple of working class guys were right there, right around a winning number in Vegas to be a pro. You ready to be a pro?
I was born in pro Memphis. Come on, let's do this.
You were born a pro. Let's get into it. And let's get into BetUS real quick. Now, Dr. Kyle is just now exploring them. I've already got my account set up. So let me tell you a little story. Dr. Kyle, you got time for a little story?
Okay, I suppose.
It's a true story about a young man in Indiana. His name's Randy. And he wanted to start a new account at betus.com. And like a good young man, he used promo code Memphis. Why Memphis? Because it's the same promo code that you would use at Hate Brand Goods, and why confuse you nice people. Promo code Memphis everywhere that we do business so far. And so Randy went there. He used promo code Memphis. Everything was going fine, and there was a snafu with his debit card because he wasn't using a credit card. Cool story. Randy now has his own account representative. Her name is Carla. And if I have any questions or concerns, I have Carla's number and an extension that gets me in contact with her. I mean, Randy. That's who gets in contact with her. It's great customer service. Randy got a 100% deposit match once his money went through, and he got a 25% match in the casino. So I deposited $100. I got $100 in extra play in the sports book and $25 in the casino. Dr. Kyle, that's not a bad deal.
Oh, give me all the free stuff.
And maybe you don't want your significant other really snooping around what you're doing with your money. Maybe you got a little crypto on the side. Here's the thing. You get an even bigger deposit match when you use Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few others. I know Doge is not accepted. I was like, I will liquidate the rest of this bullshit Dogecoin in a heartbeat because I already sold most of it, Dr. Kyle. Now I'm into Shiba. Shiba, not bad.
Is that a Doge or a puppy or a...
The Doge is the actual Doge from the meme. Believe it or not.
What's the Shiba? Is that a Shiba Inu?
I bought it on Voyager, the Voyager app, and a buddy of mine recommended it to me. Now he bought just enough that if it hits 1 penny, he'll be a millionaire. I think it was less than $1,500. It wasn't like, the kids aren't going to college or anything like that. I put a couple of $100 in. Why not? Moved a little money around. I got rid of all my Doge. I mean, I bought my Doge last year during the Rams-Seattle game, turned a nice profit late summer. So
you're playing with house money. Why not?
The term free roll comes to mind, and that's the free roll you'll get when you get your matching deposit bonus over at betus.com. So come bet with us. Go to betus.com, use promo code Memphis when starting your new account and your first deposit. So here we go. Dr. Kyle, ready to get into this slate. Now, it's only a 13-game slate.
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Have you heard anybody whining, crying, singing the blues on Twitter about buys this week?
Nah, nobody's complaining about injuries or buys. Everybody feels very, very good about their fantasy football.
I got Dante Pettis in a starting lineup in fantasy football. Do you hear me crying the blues? No. Because we've had bye weeks like this before. Harken back to week 10 of 2019. It's part of the game. Doesn't make it any more fun. Doesn't make it suck any less. But I guess if venting on social media helps you get through the day, vent away. I'll just mute you. Anywho, let's move on to these games. So we got a Thursday night special. No Baker Mayfield. This line has moved. You know what the opener was? The opening number to the world was? Now it's down to 2. It's Cleveland laying 2 at home. Total of 41. Lowest total on the board. What do you think the opener was in this game? Pre-Baker news. Close. It was 6.
Okay.
It was Cleveland minus 6. So give them 2.5 for home field advantage. They're saying that on a neutral, Cleveland is 3.5 better than this team. So basically, Cleveland's down to 2. So the handicappers are telling you it was 3. When the Baker news came out, it was 3. I took it off of our sheet, came back up just before the show goes on, and it's 2. That tells you that Vegas sees a 1-point difference between Baker Mayfield and Case Keenum. Dr. Kyle, you have nothing on this game. Is that still your take?
With that line, I did when the Baker news came out. I went to see what it was on my book, and I could still get the Broncos +3, so I did. But it turns out Teddy Bridgewater is questionable now too. Now I don't know if Drew Lock is that much of a downgrade in a game where Denver is an underdog. But yeah, really for the purposes of the fabulous big bet tonight, not touching it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Teddy and Drew Lock, kind of like I feel about like fantasy football. If you're a big favorite in a head-to-head matchup, play the safe play. So if you're Denver and you're a big favorite, you're playing Houston or maybe back
Which
in
they
the
were
day.
the first 3 weeks when they went 3-0 and
But,
covered 3 weeks in a row.
but when you're a big underdog, like when they're going to face the Chargers or they're going to face Kansas City, why not throw out YOLO bomb lock out there, or lock out there, excuse me. Why not? All right, so for me, I had a slight lean to Cleveland. It's weather dependent. It's supposed to be a light drizzle and 18-mile-an-hour rains on a short work week. That is not a Teddy Bridgewater recipe for success.
No.
So, Teddy Two Gloves will be in full effect. I see this being an ugly game. I wouldn't touch the total. If I did, I would lean over just because with Case Keenum and potentially Drew Lock back there. I think if Drew Lock were to get the start, I may lean over just because of turnovers. Cleveland's still got a pretty decent defense, even though they have not looked like it due to their competition lately. So for
Yeah.
me, it's just a slight lean to Cleveland. That's our Thursday night game. Then we go into 1 o'clock. Now, you have an official bet on the total in the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. It's Baltimore laying 6.5 and total of 47. Go for it, Dr. Kyle.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet here. I am going under 47, and there's a lot of familiarity here. The Bengals and Ravens are in the same division. So between that and the fact that both the Bengals and the Ravens defenses are both top 10 in points against, the Bengals, they are not the air it out, throw it 40 times a game like they were last year. They are possession, ball control, as well as the Ravens right now. So for that reason, I'm going to go under 47 with Baltimore and Cincinnati. And I do wonder if the number will shift. I think the public might bet it over. Yes, I'm calling myself sharp right there. You can have your own opinion in a second, but Baltimore is known for blowing teams out, and Cincinnati, I think, probably still has a reputation of being an air it out team. But I think I'm going to go against the grain here and go under 47.
Yeah, for me, the recent history, it just feels like the betting market and the public, it feels like this number is a total trap. It just feels like all the square balls are going to have seen, Baltimore struggle against the Colts. They've had all these games in a row. I think this is their third home game in a row. So that has to make you wonder what the back half of their season is going to look like from a home to road ratio. But for me, I just think Cincinnati's being overvalued in the market right now. I still not super impressed with that coaching staff. I'm getting the better quarterback, and I love Joe Burrow. I'm getting the better head coach. I'm getting the team at home. I feel like this line's at least a point light. I think for me to have to be on Cincinnati, it'd have to be 7.5. But what did I do, Dr. Kyle? I did what I did last week. One of my big bets, one of my bets that won, was the Super Square Ball Teaser of the Week. It's back.
All right, on the picture here we have a square.
So here is your square if you're watching live on YouTube. It's me. It's Memphis. I'm going to take the Super Public, the Super Square, Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to tease them from 6.5 down to 0.5 point. And I'm going to pair them with the also Ultra Public Kansas City Chiefs. They are playing Tennessee at Tennessee. I know Tennessee's feeling themselves, and I think Tennessee is going to fall into like somewhat of the same trap that the team they just beat fell into, which was Buffalo. I think they're going to be coming off of a big win for Tennessee. That was a big win at home on a short work week. Now
Short
you get,
rest, yeah.
now you get Patrick Mahomes, coming in there, and I just think styles make fights, and I just don't think Kansas City is going to have too much trouble with Tennessee, especially if they have offensive line issues, potential missing Tyler Lewan. So Super Square Ball
And there are a few important properties that defines a square.
So I'm going to define a square as me again taking Baltimore down to half a point and taking Kansas City also down to a half a point. Square ball teaser of the weeks. Dr. Kyle, thoughts?
I don't hate it. I do. I don't know. Kansas City still makes me nervous. It took them a while to get rolling against Washington. Maybe Tennessee is rolling, but I think it's the right move.
Now, do you think that the game plan will be another steady dose of Mr. Henry?
It's going to be the game plan for the next 14 weeks.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is just an absolute animal out there.
Animal.
I mean, I said this on our Patreon podcast for Dynasty gamers, is that they literally don't make him like Derrick Henry. He is the true unicorn. So
Yep.
enough of this game. Neither one of us had much in the Giants hosting Carolina. Giants 3-point home underdog, getting 3 points from Carolina. A tied for the second lowest total on the board at 43. I think these defenses are better than we give them both credit for. And these offenses seem to be like a tire stuck in the mud. Anything?
I don't know. I've been on Carolina 2 weeks in a row, so it's hard for me to trust them again. I think that maybe without McCaffrey and maybe Darnold is what he is, and the offensive line doesn't protect him well enough against good fronts. And I think maybe that. Look, right now, what I'm saying is, if I had to choose a lean, I would probably lean the Giants at home, getting 3. If it gets to 3.5, I think that's where you would take the Giants. I think at some point they're going to show up for Joe Judge. Both teams have. Well, I guess the Giants cluster injuries between Barkley and Slayton and Kadarius Toney. I don't know. It's a mess. I'm leaving it alone.
Yeah, I've had to lean. I almost wanted to do it like a horrible version of a teaser. I wanted to tease through the 0 and take Carolina +3. I fought the urge. I'm just going to lean Carolina.
Yeah.
Next game, oh my goodness, the Green Bay Packers are hosting. Who are they hosting, Dr. Kyle? They are hosting
Washington football
They
team.
are hosting the Washington. For some reason, I had Washington at home. That's what threw me off. But Washington on the road at Green Bay, 8.5. For me, this is part of my big bet. You have a lean to Washington. Any particular reason?
It's a reason I'll bring up again in a little bit when I talk one of my other likes or leans. But Green Bay is going to be playing on Thursday in a week against Arizona, which was a very key game for jockeying for playoff position in the NFC right now. The NFC is very top heavy. We got like 4 or 5 teams, I think, with one or 0 losses. And it's a Thursday game. So I think potentially we see Green Bay looking ahead, and Washington, I think Washington might be desperate at this point. They looked pretty okay. They were beating Kansas City through half a game last weekend. I don't know. I think Green Bay is probably. I don't know if I had to put Green Bay's offense up against Kansas City's. I probably still think Kansas City is a tougher challenge to cover with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But for those reasons at 8.5, I'm going to lean Washington.
Yeah, the Washington defense has been a little toothless, but for me, this is going to be part of my big bet. I'm going back to the teaser. Tried to total last week, didn't work out. Let's go back to the teaser, the squeezer. You know it as the pleaser. It's the big bet winner. I'm going to tease Green Bay from 8.5 down to 2.5. And I'm going to pair them with New England. New England is at home. They are laying 7 points to the Jets. I don't see New England getting margin against anybody, but nobody gets margin on New England. We just saw this. And this is a do-or-die game for New England's season. So the Jets aren't going anywhere. Bill Belichick's record against rookie QBs, as I believe it's 22-6 or 23-6 straight up against rookie QBs. So that's my big bet teaser of the week. It's a teaser. It's a big bet. It's a pleaser. Green Bay down to 2.5 from 8.5. New England down to -1 from -7. Dr. Kyle, anything else on Washington or Washington or Green Bay, or anything for you with Baltimore? Excuse me, with Kansas City and Tennessee. Those two games you got: Green Bay, Washington, Tennessee, Kansas City.
No Moss. No Moss.
No Moss, he is tapping out. All right, the final 1 o'clock game for us to decide. Now you're also using New England in a teaser, so we'll bounce back to that in just a second. We have a smash. We have a bet that we both like over, including your big bet. So let's talk about it.
Smash.
We have Atlanta coming off the
Yeah.
bye,
Yep.
going to Miami. Total 47.5. We both like the over. It's your big bet. Tell us why.
I'm going to give a shout out because this is me scrolling through Twitter today, which is always football related and therefore FBB research related. But my man Frank Amarante with some key info for me. Atlanta and Miami, respectively, are 10th and 6th in pace, which means how quickly they are to snap the ball on offense. And then as far as how pass heavy they are, Atlanta is passing 59% of the time and Miami 66% of the time. One could argue that if you are constantly in a negative game script, that leads to the passing. So perhaps some skewed statistics there. But then as well, Atlanta is 30th in pass defense and Miami is 26th in pass defense. So with a measly total of 47, which at these days is like middle of the road, maybe just slightly lower than middle of the road, I am loving big betting the over of 47.5.
Yeah, for me, I'm just playing the trend. Both of these defenses have looked horrible. And if I trust Arthur Smith, former offensive coordinator and tight end coach for the Tennessee Titans, if there's one part of the team that I could see him coming back from the bye with some new wrinkles, would be the offensive side of the ball. Atlanta's defense is bad. They're going to continue to be bad. So for me, I mean, these teams are currently giving up about 57 points over the last handful of weeks, and I just don't see it getting any better. So for me, I'm going to go over as well, but it was your big. Go ahead, sir.
Got one more thing to share on this game, which this is why it might be imperative to follow me. At 12:02 p.m. on 10/16, Dr. Kyle Balzer, PT, tweeted, Falcons are on bye this week and are at Miami next week, who will be coming off of this London game. I don't know if Atlanta is a real buy low team, which I think they were, because I think we believe that Arthur Smith could get the offense going through the bye with Calvin Ridley coming back. But I'm going to take him looking ahead on a plus 120 money line in a very good spot. That line is now, I believe it's minus 140 Atlanta. So if you saw that and followed me, or if you followed me and saw that last week, Falcons are now minus 140. If you saw this line or saw my tweet Saturday, Atlanta was a 2.5 point dog, plus 120 money line, and now it's completely flip flop. So if you were, if you're a big bettor, now is the time to bet the Dolphins money line and just guarantee your victory and move on. But
yeah, I'm looking at their season numbers. So Atlanta has given up the 13th most points in the league, and they've had their bye. They've given up 148 points in 5 games. So just a tick under 30 points a game. Miami has played 6 games. They've given up 177 points. So again, also just a tick under 30 points a game. So let's call them 29. Let's round those down, Dr. Kyle. Let's say 29. These teams are giving up 58 points a game, and I know Tua didn't set the world on fire, but the offense looked pretty good with Tua back last week. And like you said, Atlanta's coming off the bye, working some things out in the offense, going to get Kyle Pitts more involved, get Calvin Ridley back. You know, the running game's not bad with Patterson and with Mike Davis. This could easily, and then you add in your pace of play, and then if you add in, if Xavier Howard or Byron Jones are out again this week for the Miami defense, not going to be good, Dr. Kyle. So I'm with you. I am going to share that big bet with you. You also had New England. You had New England teased down to 1, but you have it teased with a 4 o'clock game.
Yeah, I'm teasing. I'm taking Philly. I'm going to tease them from +3 to +9. Philly is coming off of a long rest because they played 2 Thursdays ago. And not only that, but they covered on that Thursday against a very strong Tampa Bay team. Again, we've talked about this team weeks in a row now, where you mentioned they are, they have that don't give up quality in the fourth quarter. And I know Vegas had a big week last week, but perhaps they were just running on emotion in the John Gruden stepping down. But one of my likes is the Eagles money line. Every week now I'm thinking like who's the dog that could win outright. I feel like the Eagles are one of them. I'm not going to bet it, I don't think, but as far as I'm going to tease Philly up to +9, a key number. Going to Vegas, who I don't think we can really trust them. And I think what we saw with who was it they played a couple of weeks ago? I think it was the Chargers I think it was Joey Bosa was talking some smack about Derek Carr, who was like, if we can make him uncomfortable, we'll sort of render him useless. I think this Philadelphia pass rush could have a similar effect. That's going to be a key point of this game is, Philly, if they can get a pass rush on Carr, then they could really take this one to them. But teasing Philly +9 with New England -1.
Yeah, you also had on a lean that the Eagles money line is intriguing. For me, I would lean the Raiders if I had it at 2.5. I think this is going to be a field goal type game. For whatever reason, though, I just can't trust the Raiders. They didn't cover against Miami at home earlier in the season. They didn't cover at home against the Bears. And, they've had some good wins. They had a good win at Denver this past week. They had a good win in week 1 where they beat Baltimore at home. It just feels like this. I don't know who I'm getting. I like how the team look unified under new head coach Mike Bisaccia. Hope I got that right, Mr. Bisaccia, and more play action than ever. A lot of it, positive, encouraging notes on the Raiders, but not enough to make it more than a lean. But if it got to 2.5, it would be an official lean. How about that? Then we have Detroit in the Matt Stafford v. Jared Goff revenge game going to the Rams. The total is 50.5, and the total is -15 points. So Rams giving up 15 at home, and you have nothing, like just blanks.
No, but I like your so take it away.
My like is, you're going to have to wait till Sunday to get this. It's a derivative bet. I kind of like the Rams team total over. So just using an implied line, using the -15 off the 50.5 point total, that's going to mean that the Rams should be somewhere around 32 on their total. If I get it at 31, I would really like it. I just see the Rams and that organization feeling like we're going to justify giving up 2 firsts and Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. They have to make that look like it's everything that they paid for. So they have extra incentive at home to hang a beating on Detroit. So I like the fact that I think the Rams are probably going to score between 40 points, give or take. I really feel like Matt Stafford probably throws 4 or 5. Is that far-fetched?
No, probably 3 of them will go to Cooper Kupp too.
Gotta love Cooper Kupp. I was told he was not a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Anywho, let's get on to this next game. The Chicago Bears being hosted by Tampa Bay. Bit of a revenge game from last year on a Thursday night where Tom Brady thought he had a 4th down, but he already used it. The Buccaneers are laying 13 at home, total of 47. You have a little something. You're going back to the well.
I'm going back to, we call that the masochistic self-deprecating well, I believe. I think Jerry is already living there. But anyway, as a Detroit fan, sorry, Jerry, if you're listening. -13. 13 is a big number. Chicago's defense has been playing very well. They hung tight with the Packers last week, and we know that Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. I don't know if Tom Brady owns them at all. So I'm going back to the Bears. Well, I'm taking what I think is a D that's really come together. I'm hoping that at some point the Nagy and co can really string a game plan together for Justin Fields. Maybe open something up so he can actually use his legs for once. But that's my selfish fantasy football purposes. But I also believe that perhaps the Buccaneers could be looking ahead. They play New Orleans, which is potentially an important divisional game that could really look if the Bucs. Obviously, if the Bucs beat Chicago outright, that's expected, and then beat New Orleans in the following week, they are smooth sailing in the NFC South there. But if New Orleans, I like New Orleans this week. We'll get to that one, and then Bucs Saints next week. That's a very important game for the Bucs. So I think this could be one where
the old look ahead spot.
The old look. I'm using it this week. I had to go to something because what I used last week didn't work. I think it's the look ahead spot. Bucs are 2-4 against the spread. Yeah, there's a chance that Gronk isn't back. I think he's a key piece of this offense. They've been a little flat since he's gone out. So Chicago plus 13. Lean it.
I think for me, I would be under the 47. If that would be my lean on this game, would be the total under 47. Here's my thing. Has anyone been able to successfully run the ball on Tampa Bay?
No.
Okay, and I know everybody thinks the big advantage is against the Tampa Bay secondary, right?
Yeah.
Well, are they getting healthier coming off of 10 days rest?
Probably.
You would think so. I mean, you're a doctor, right? 10 days rest, probably a good thing for pro athletes, so extra rest.
I have to thumb through my textbooks.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Justin Fields, Bears quarterback. He's not getting any better, guys. He is still statistically the second worst quarterback in the NFL. His QBR is second worst in the league, only behind Zach Wilson. His EPA is at the very bottom of the league. The only quarterback in the league he's better at than anybody is Zach Wilson. And if you can't run, we've already established they're without Monty, so that's not a good thing. No David Montgomery. I'm hoping they get Tariq Cohen back, to be quite honest. I think he could be a useful weapon. He is eligible to come off of the 6-week pup. Just for me, I don't know how the Bears score. And if I don't know how the Bears score, and the Bears do have a good defense, and they held Green Bay to 24, for me the number looks like I would be looking under. That would be my lean. So next game, another huge double-digit favorites. This is the week of double-digit favorites. We had the Rams laying 15, Buccaneers laying 13. Now the biggest number on the board, Arizona laying 17.5 at home to Houston. The old thing, too tall to call. That's what they'll tell you on a blackjack. No, excuse me, not a blackjack, a craps table. If the dice go off the table, the stick man will yell, "Too tall to call." And this one's too tall to call. Too big of a number for me, man.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so big, I'm gonna lean Houston. I didn't watch the Houston-Indy game last week. I wish I got a chance to. I don't know. Maybe you have some input there, but that's a big number. It's Houston. Houston is not that far from Arizona. So
Houston
it's not a big
so
travel
confusing.
spot. I know,
So
and that's
confusing.
why I'm thinking it's just like this wild. They just have like this wild swing in how they perform. And last week was a giant low, and perhaps they have high. And then this week, again, I'm going with the look ahead spot. Arizona is going to be playing on Thursday next week against Green Bay in a very key game for playoff position jockeying. So I don't see Arizona focusing so much on this game that they run away with it, 31-10.
I got nothing on the game, but I think that's the right side. If you're going to lean either way, it would be to lean toward Houston. I mean, they
you
barely
can't lay
they
17.5, right?
They barely got away with margin at Jacksonville. I think it was like 11 or 12-point game.
Yeah.
And you know Houston's going to fight to the bitter end. So I'm not leaning there with you, but I understand. All right, we have a dual like. We have two games. We have Sunday night primetime. My Colts going to the 49ers. You have Indy +4. I have Indy +4. What are your thoughts?
I thought about this one a lot because, San Francisco is coming off of a bye, but I don't know. I don't know what's left to like about Kyle Shanahan. Do we even know who's starting quarterback for this game yet for San Francisco? But what I do know is Indy played a very strong game against Baltimore 2 weeks ago. They played a very strong game against Houston this past week. I think we might be buying Indy low against a very public San Francisco team who's coming off of a bye. So give me the points and hope for the best. Like I think this could be, I have money line, question mark, exclamation point next to it because I think this could be, if you really like Indy, money line might be a good way to go. I could see Indy winning this one outright.
For me, this one comes down to the weather. What was my thought? It's supposed to be in the mid 60s rain, potentially 15 to 18 mile an hour winds. And if you can't throw the ball because of the wind and the rain, what do you have to lean on? The running game. Whose running game's been absolutely on fire lately? Jonathan Taylor. And thanks to our buddy Mike Kinney in the YouTube chat, he says Jimmy G, Lance has yet to practice, and Jimmy G got into limited practice. And Shanahan said Jimmy G was the QB as long as he's healthy this year. So that would all add up, Dr. Kyle.
Kyle Shanahan's a goddamn clown.
Easy. But I do know that Indy's rushing defense is pretty good. They're in the middle of the pack. They've given up 666 rushing yards. And, the 49ers are going to be a little bit better than that, but they've given up 566 in 5 games. But who am I getting? I mean, are you getting Trey Sermon? Are you getting Elijah Mitchell? You're not getting Jeff Wilson yet, I don't think.
No.
You're not getting Raheem Mostert. So
Nope.
J.J. Hasty. So I'm getting the better running back. Carson Wentz has been on fire. Pro Football Focus's Offensive Player of the Week. Do you know that he was supposedly a turnover machine coming into this year, coming out of last year in Philadelphia? Do you remember that, Dr. Kyle?
I do.
He has 1 interception this year and 0 PFF turnover-worthy plays. He has more sprained ankles than turnovers this year, Dr. Kyle. How about that?
That's hey, let's get it, Wentz.
So I feel like I'm getting the better quarterback. I don't think that I know like you said, Mike Shanahan's an alleged genius, but I'll take Frank Reich and I'll take 4. I feel like in this weather it's going to be a field goal game. So I'll be happy, as long as I'm on the right side. This number, if you were on San Francisco, it's getting better. This number opened up at 6.5. And the Colts continue to play better, play it down. I think you're getting value on the Colts. I think you're getting the better team. And I like your call of the money line.
Yes, sir.
All right, one more. You have a bet on this game. Seattle going to the 12th man up there in Seattle. What is the line here? We have got New Orleans giving 4.5 on the road to Seattle. You like Jameis Winston as a 4.5 road favorite?
I like Jameis Winston over Geno Smith, and I like Sean Payton coming off of a bye over Pete Carroll.
You hit my 2 notes because I have a lean on this game to New Orleans as well. Not only that, they're getting a couple of defensive players back from the short-term IR. They're also getting back one of their offensive players. I saw a tweet just before we went on the air that they're getting Traquan Smith, the wide receiver. They're getting him off of IR as well. So this team's getting healthier, coming off the bye, better coach. Not really a short work week, but they did play the late game on Sunday night. And it just feels like the more we see of the
in OT, right? So that's a late work week, and it's a longer game.
Yeah, OT teams typically don't do as well. Just for me, like I said, I'm getting the better head coach coming off the bye. And as odd as it sounds to say, I'm getting the better quarterback with Jameis Winston. So I'm checking a lot of boxes here. I'm getting health. I'm getting coach. I'm getting QB. I'm getting the bye. I'm getting the strategic
and the defense.
advantage.
You're getting the better defense too.
Yeah. So for me, I don't love it. I would hope that the 12th man bets this down to 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're going to get a 33% line reduction because part of that. That's saying that on a neutral field, because you think Seattle would get 2.5, if not 3 for home field, that on a neutral field with Geno under center, that you'd be laying 7.5 in New Orleans. I think New Orleans will travel fine because of the bye, so I will lean that way with you, my man.
Let's go. I like
Let's.
that we're on the same team this week a bit.
I
This is
know.
nice.
I always feel bad pummeling you. It's like big brother, little brothers. It's
We'll
got
get
such
back
a
to it next week.
it's got such a bully. I almost did it with you on the. If it was anyone besides the Raiders playing the Eagles, you probably would have got action there. Let's recap these big bets and get out of here. My big bet, I have Green Bay in a teaser with New England. Green Bay going from 8.5 down to -2.5, and New England going from -7 down to -1. Then I have the super square ball teaser of the week. I'm going Baltimore from 6.5 down to -0.5, and I'm going Kansas City from also -6.5. Now, excuse me, from -5.5 to actually Kansas City plus a half. I know it's kind of wasted points there going through the zero. I get it, but that's why it's square. If it was a perfect Wong teaser, it wouldn't be square. So those two teasers, I'm going over in the Atlanta-Miami game, and then I'm also going Colts +4. So I have 4 total wagers for you. Dr. Kyle going under 47 with Baltimore and Cincinnati. He's going over in Miami and Atlanta. That is his big bet, over 47.5. He has a New England teaser as well. He's teasing New England down to 1 against the Jets, and then he's teasing Philly up to 9. They're currently getting 3. He's going to tease it up to 9. He's also got Indy +4 on the road at San Francisco. He put a slight nudge to the money line. And then he has a bet on New Orleans laying 4.5 at Seattle. And there you go, Dr. Kyle. We have 9 total bets. Couple of cross intermingling this week as opposed to crossfire. Probably a good thing for you.
Cross swords, I believe they call that, Memphis.
Oh, you want to have a sword fight next week, I see. Well, awesome. Well, hey, if you want to get in on this action, and all of our numbers, again, are brought to us by betus.com. Again, amazing customer service. I like the fact that there's an agent assigned to you to help you with your matters. These things are important, and getting paid out's important. And you want to feel like when you want to get your money, it's there. So I'm going to tell you to go to betus.com. Dr. Kyle, what is that promo code?
Probably something with Memphis in it. Is it?
It's
Is it
Memphis. It's always Memphis. You go to betus.com. You use promo code Memphis, and if you don't want to go there, you're already listening to the podcast. Hit pause. Go into the show notes. There's a hyperlink. Will take you right there, Dr. Kyle. How easy is that?
Easy peasy.
Same as if you go to Hate Brand Goods. Same hyperlink in the same show notes. It's the HVIII.com. Dr. Kyle, I know you got yours. And you can see him on his Instagram that you can't see because it's private. But they restocked the floral bomb and the oil slick goat shorts.
Memphis, I am 2 pairs of shorts heavier in life this week than I was exactly 1 week ago when we did this. And it's not because of those pairs. It's because of the other like 90s Zubaz type fucking patterns. They're so good.
Now you're a doctor. You probably have worn a polo style or a golf shirt in your day.
Like 5 days a week, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, they have a Hate Brand polo shirt, golf style shirt. Simple logo, clean, keep you looking fresh. Dr. Kyle, you should go to Hate Brand Good. You should go to thehviii.com. You can use the money that you won at betus.com. Both places, you use the promo and sign-up code Memphis, and you're using your winnings to look sharp at work and the gym. Look at that. It's a 2-way win. There's no losers there, Dr. Kyle.
I could use something that I can't lose in, I'll be honest.
There you go. And then, so they're releasing the deadlift slipper this week. Now, you deadlift?
Yeah, trap bar, but I still include it in the deadlifting category.
If anyone's a trap king, it's you around these parts. So you're trap bar. But have you seen a deadlift slipper?
No, it's a deadlift slipper.
It's really for like super big weight pulling guys. You'll see a lot of international power lifters. You know that when they deadlift. My wife used to deadlift in socks. I don't like it. I like the stability of a flat-soled shoe, like a Nike. But if you're curious as to what a deadlift slipper is, it goes live on Thursday. They will sell out. They sold out last time in a flash. So check him out. You can go to thehvii.com. You can check it out. And I see Dr. Kyle's checking it out right now.
Check it out. Yeah.
Well, hey, man, you've checked it out. You've checked out betus.com. You've checked out Hate Goods. Let's check out this podcast and get ready for the next one.
Amen.
All right. Well, his name is Dr. Kyle Bowser. You can follow him on Twitter at DWZ_DrPT. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. And remember, until next time, here at the Fabulous Big Bet, money won is twice as sweet as money earned, especially when it's Dr. Kyle's. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good